The expressed views of the podcast are views of the individuals and not the views of any organization or public safety agency. This podcast may contain violent or offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised. And if you are offended by what we say, you can get fucked. Enjoy the show. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back, Tales from the Tailboard podcast here at Truck Company Radio. Styx and your boy Chrispy in the studio today.
What's up?
We're going to wing it. Which I feel like generates better podcasts anyway. But we're going to wing it. Episode 27 coming at you. Yeah, I definitely lost my train of thought. Did you hear anything about the other episode? I didn't hear anything about sound issues or anything because I definitely didn't listen to the intro or anything.
Yeah, nobody bitched.
Well,
somebody hasn't gotten off their asses and put our studio back together.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of other things in life.
Nobody's invited me to come help put the studio back together either.
Oh, well, that's because we got to clean the loft first. And I got to figure out how I want to redo it because I don't think I want to do it the same way. It was very constrictive. I want to do it more open so that the loft is more usable. I haven't figured out quite how to do that yet.
Well, I think we definitely need to use an existing wall instead of having the 4 sides completely.
So I think that if we put, when we started, when we just had that one wall to kind of close in the room a little bit, I think that if we did that right there, that it would seal, because there's not sound issues here. It
all comes from
behind you. So if we put a wall there, we could do it.
Want to get some curtain rack that goes across the ceiling?
Maybe.
Could be you and the wife's sex dungeon when it's not a podcast studio.
It's not. No, I don't think so. We have a bedroom for all that kind of stuff. Sorry to Ashley's dad who's listening.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. Glad you could make it.
So I just wrote down, what did I write down? Changes in the department.
If we keep talking about our own department, people are going to figure out our secret.
Well, in a department. We can make it any department.
Oh, okay, yeah. We can talk about it. So let's talk about when a department gets a new fire chief. Any department. Congratulations to the new chief at a department.
Oh, you're such a smartass.
So I guess we can kind of talk about it.
I'm going to change the subject real quick and make you lose your train of thought. Where'd you get that little case for your leaf?
Oh. Do you remember when I used to write all the articles in the newspaper?
Yeah.
So there was a guy, I went to school with his kids, and he'd always take out the article and send me stuff.
Yeah.
The article, and he'd always write notes about it or whatever. So he is the groundskeeper at the park by your station.
Yeah.
And when we did our fire games there, I don't know, the year that we did them there, he had a bunch of pictures because they were at the park doing, it's like hockey, but it's like a board game hockey. It's weird. I don't know. He explained it to me once. And he had a bunch of pictures that he sent me, and he sent them with that box.
So in other words, you don't know where to get another one of those?
In other words, long story short.
I'm going to start with Hobby Lobby.
Probably a good bet. So I have a big glass, a bigger shadow box kind of thing that has all my badges in it. And I had a way that they all stayed up there, and then they all fell down because some of them are kind of heavy. So, but that's the one that came with my replacement helmet that I never got because my old helmet that I had lost that they bought the replacement.
I was going to say that leaf looks mint.
I did wear it for a while.
It looks like you were a desk lieutenant.
Yeah. And then I think I got, or you know what? No, that's not the right one. That's the one and only one that I have that has 11 on it. The other, I have my worn out red one, and then I have the brand new version of that old school style. No, it's still
Yellow?
red. It just doesn't have the numbers.
Oh.
It has the scramble in it.
Yeah.
So I have the brand new version of that old style Lieutenant front, and then I have the one that has 11 on it. And that's all stuff from my office because I used to have a hutch on my desk at work, and so I had a bunch of stuff on the top of it, a couple of my helmets and some other stuff, and that's all stuff from my office I took out when we rearranged, and I never.
The job you're miserable with?
Yeah, I don't have a hutch now, so I don't have anything to display all that stuff on because I haven't put a shelf on my wall yet. So, maybe when I'm the new assistant chief, I can display all my stuff.
You won't do it.
Never know. Fuck around, find out. If any of the one in listening wants to Manchester me, I'd be happy to accept that Manchester.
What does that mean?
It's an army thing.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
I don't know that much about it either, just from what Nick the Cops told me.
Oh.
But apparently if you say you're going to do something and they say Manchester, if you don't do it, they get to slap you in the face.
Oh.
And I'd rather apply for assistant chief than get slapped in the face. So yeah,
Sorry.
so when I was in my interview for chief, they asked me, I don't remember the exact question, but like if you were having to change policy or like totally revamp something, and how would you get buy-in from like the field staff, and then in like a combination department where you have like the volunteer district chiefs or station captains or however that department's structured, how would you get everyone to buy in on that policy change? And so it comes down to, in my eyes, when you start out a new department, especially me, where like some of the volunteers don't like me because
Some of them don't like you?
I voice my opinions, and I have a very new age way of thinking, and so you're up against the biggest problem of all, and everyone's like, oh, politics. I'm like, no. Politics are certainly like an issue in the fire service, but the biggest thing is the culture.
Well, what's wrong with the way we've always done it?
Nothing and everything, like all at the same time. So there's certain aspects of the way that the fire service has been done for years that's awesome. The uniforms, like the Class A's with the bell hat, bells on our fire engines. The Q siren is probably one of the greatest things in the fire service ever.
I agree.
So there's like a lot of things, the black over red fire truck design coming out of Chicago and the history behind that, because that great Chicago fire changed the fire service in so many different ways. I really think that the black over red design is a real good homage, to know our word for the podcast, a really good homage or homage, depending on how you want to say it, to that fire and a lot of the stuff that came out of that. But there's a lot of things that the way we've always done it is gets people into trouble, and what it really does is it holds us back. It holds us as a fire service back from progressing and really becoming better at our craft. So there's a scientific experiment. I don't know if it was like true, but this is how it goes. So you have 5 monkeys in a room, and you put a banana on top of a ladder. So when a monkey goes up to get the ladder or gets the banana, all the monkeys get hosed down. So eventually they learn that when they go to get the banana, they get hosed down. So eventually they leave the banana alone. You switch out a monkey for a new one, and he goes to get the banana, and he gets beat up by all the others. And then eventually they all switched out, and you remove the banana. And anytime they climb the ladder, they get beat up, but they don't know why they're doing it. And I think that's sort of where we end up in the fire service, is we do things, and we have no idea why we're doing them, and that's not why to do something or when or why not to do something share equal importance. And not just in firefighting, in treatments of our patients. A lot of people become over-aggressive with their medicine, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I definitely think that we shouldn't withhold treatments, but if we treat our patients with the most aggressive treatment, that whatever we're treating in their body, if it's reoccurring, it's going to need to be treated that aggressively or more next time.
Yeah.
Because that's what it took. So if you can do less with more, because your body learns, it's constantly learning. That's why patients with sugars that run high, that's why they're always
high,
and their body learns to function at that level. So when you take them down to like 120, their body thinks they're in hypoglycemia because
they're used to being at 500.
Yeah. Your body learns and stores that in a memory. It's the same thing as if you charge your battery at the end of every tour on your radio, you're going to change the life cycle of your battery and you're going to start running out of battery soon.
Yeah. I'm gonna step back to the black over red trucks. I like the black and the red, except when they incorporate yellow or gold.
Yeah.
Like the black directly on red, tits any day of the week. You put a stupid yellow or gold stripe in it, I don't like it.
Yeah, I definitely think that, like, keep it simple. Some of these truck designs get, like, crazy, and I'm all about it.
Some truck porn?
So then you have decisions like gear, or like a color of gear or color of truck or whatever. And then you go to change that. And, like, who cares? Like, I get it. Like, we want our trucks to look badass and look cool when we're driving down the road. And so they want these, like, it to look a certain way, and I get that. I think that it should be standardized across your jurisdiction. Paint jobs and design of apparatus. But, like, I just don't understand why when we go to change something as simple as gear color, why it's like...
There's a huge uproar.
Yeah, especially when it's like a positive thing to bring us together as a family under one united front, or because the other gear is inferior in some way, whatever else. Like, the fire service has a long tradition of getting people killed. And I think that in a way is our own way of, I mean, less than 1% of firefighters get killed. Keep that in mind. But I feel like that number also used to be a lot higher. And so if we can move away from those types of traditions and keep an open mind with new things, and it's also crazy because people are like, oh man, this place sucks, or I hate that we have to do this or whatever, and then something changes and they're like, why do we have to do that? This works just fine.
Yeah.
It's super, super bizarre.
What's that saying? The only thing worse than change is the way that it is?
Yeah, two things you hate the most are change and the way things are.
There it is.
So I definitely think that, like, if you do go into a new department or there's changes in your department, getting that buy-in is important, and it's super difficult. And you really have two options. You either sell it to them and get their buy-in and sort of do the make of them think it's their own idea type of thing. Like, you have a solution, so you just sort of like steer them so they come up with it, and you're like, oh man, that's a great idea. Cool, thanks. Or you can do the sort of the iron fist technique. And the iron fist technique definitely, I don't think, works
so
well.
I like, if you're going to give us options, give us options.
Correct.
If not, if you're going to tell us this is what it is, okay, then this is what it is. Don't give us options and then tell us, no, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Then just tell us it is what it is.
I agree. I think that like
that's like the biggest kick in the balls.
Getting buy-in is important and is helpful to the process, as long as it's not, like you said, like it's not lip service.
Yeah, like you're going to give us option A, B, and C. Okay, well, we all want B. No, you guys are getting A.
Yeah.
It's like the most infuriating thing, like, in the field. It's like the most infuriating thing on the planet.
So I had a meeting once, and we were deciding on command units and the MDTs essentially. So we as a command staff, the chiefs and the lieutenants sat down and we said, "Oh, we want this brand of pickup." And the chief said, "Okay." And they're like, "Do we want full computers, like actual laptops, or do we want tablets?" And I was like, having done reports in a truck, I think that bigger computer is definitely easier to work with.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so we got a completely different brand of pickup truck
And tablets.
And I was so I wasn't like, I was frustrated, like you said, like if that's the decision you want to make,
Then just make
fine.
it and tell us it is what it is.
But don't waste my time.
Yeah.
Don't give me bring me on the guise that I'm going to help make this decision and waste my time by not listening to what I have to say. And like, if you want my opinions, like, and I didn't just say, "Oh, I want this because it looks cool" or whatever. I said this because this.
Yeah.
Like I backed it up. And so that was really frustrating to me. So I definitely understand that. And I think that this is one of the big things when we talk about don't forget where you came from, is you have all these people that go through these types of things as firefighters or lieutenants or whatever. And then they move on up. And then they pull the same shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude.
Do you not remember?
Yeah, you bitched about this when you were down in the field. Now you're up at the top and you're doing the same shit.
Yeah. And if you are going to do that, have like, okay, I see why the person above me did that then.
Well, it's like that one time
that convey it.
I was promoted to lieutenant and the chief sat me down and said, "We're going to repost the position." And I was like, "Okay." He was like, "That's all you have to say?" I was like, "Well, yeah. I mean, it's your decision. You're the chief. Like, if you feel that for whatever reason, I ain't it, and then I ain't it." And I told him, I was like, "If I've been in this seat having this conversation with you 3 times before, like, I'll be here a 4th. But like, it's your decision. I don't. I'm gonna go with it. Whatever. You're the boss. I just work here." So yeah, I definitely think that in the fire service, change in any department is hard, especially in our agency where you have the volunteer system that's so deep rooted in their traditions and in really a tradition of the county that we work in.
Yeah.
And so you're up against that and the people that are in the department that are like, "Oh, well, I've been doing this for this many years and this is the way we've always done it and it's worked great. I don't see a reason to change." And that's fine. It is what it is. Like, I'm not going to come in and like try and sell you a brand new fire service. Like, it's the same fire service. We're just doing things a little bit differently because of whatever it may be. NIOSH studies, something that we're doing, it works great in this area, but over here it doesn't work that great, or we got to change things up because there's more volunteers here, less volunteers there, more calls here, less calls here, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And you just have to kind of sell it to them. But I like to lead with the approach of this isn't like we're going to start doing things this way, so I need you to go ahead and take care of that. More like, so this is where we're at. This is where our call volume is. This is where our volunteers are. In response to this situation, we're going to alter our practices to enhance the services that are provided. Because at the end of the day, that's what everyone should care about, is this quality and consistency of services being provided.
More like relying on the data style decision making.
Yeah, so you look at back in the day when there wasn't data, what drove your decision-making process?
Common sense.
Word of mouth. Hey, we need this. We need to do this because whatever.
What a much simpler time. Way more simpler.
Yeah, same job, more difficult.
Didn't you say that to me the other day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same job, more difficult. Because of So a couple reasons. I feel like the fire department used to be out of the media. And I feel like we were cool, like kind of in the shadows. No, we didn't cause a lot of problems.
Yeah,
we weren't really in the media.
We did our thing.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Well, now some departments are using their like public information officials differently, and they're on all these different like social media platforms, and they're more out there. They're putting themselves more out there, so they're more in the limelight. And back in the day, like in our jurisdiction, it was everyone knew that there was volunteers. So that was sort of like the expectations.
Yeah.
Whereas when you have a big footprint from larger departments around you, and they see what happens up there that's all over the media, oh, this agency's getting all these new trucks, and they're adding all these new firefighters, and they're building new stations, and they have this response time, and they're always there when you call them, and they're taking these people to the hospital, and I call 911 and I don't get anybody.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's challenging in of itself, and I think that seeing the data and publishing call statistics and the media is such a double-edged sword. It's either going to work in your favor or it's going to work against you. Some people are really good at managing both. It really just depends on the relationship that you have with the media, I think.
And it's, especially with social media and the media, you're never going to please everybody. You could pull 1,000 babies out of a fire. Well, somebody's going to bitch about the other 3 that didn't make it out of there.
Yeah. Or
if that makes sense. I don't know. It made sense in my head.
The time frame that it took you to do the job, or they're always going to focus in on what you weren't able to do and this, that, and the other.
Yeah. And then going back to volunteering, just going to circle back here to volunteering. That used to be, not just around here either, but that used to be how you eventually got paid. Yeah. You didn't get into a department unless you volunteered first.
Yep.
And now it's not the case.
Mm-mm.
You go get your EMT and you can get a job at any fire department. Not saying you can, but you can apply at any fire department.
Yep. It's crazy because I think that and any volunteers that listen, don't take this personally. This isn't a hit on you guys. I think that this is just
somebody will.
The volunteer service is still stuck in the past. And I think that at a point, these big departments that are strictly career moved forward. And the volunteers are like stuck in the past.
Well, they're stuck in dying.
So... And we talked about this. We talked about training scars. So you get taught a certain way in the academy. And then the volunteers, that's all they know because they're only there so many times. So all they know is what they're told in the academy. So then they move up in their departments and they're running the training. And so it's consistently taught the same way.
Are you going to puke?
No.
You kind of look like it.
So as the big service... They start running their own academies. They do company trainings. They have this long probationary, like structured period and tests, and they teach people a certain way and train a certain different way and encourage that like open train of thought. Whereas the volunteers are still stuck of this is the way we do it.
Yeah.
So then the career staff on the career side, these big departments that have 100% career see this as a hindrance. Because not only do they have to train this new person up to their department, but they have to break them of bad habits.
Yeah.
So it's easier for them to bring somebody in that has no fire training or experience and train them the way they want them trained than it is for them to break a bunch of bad habits or to change that train of thought.
The mentality.
Because a lot of the volunteers, and some rightfully so, some of them are very well trained, some of them are very active, some of them are strong participants in the system, this, that, and the other, and they have that mentality that I already know this. So I'm wasting my time to learn something again.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's not again, it's just differently, a different mindset, a different way of doing things, a different department. Every department has their own procedures and the way they do things and what's allowed and what's not allowed. And they get stuck in their ways, their tradition, that culture. And so that is a huge hurdle to get over. And so I went through this when I tested and interviewed for captain, and I saw all the things that the captain went through after I didn't get it. And I was like, man, I'm kind of glad I didn't get it. And now that I look back on it, I'm a little upset that I didn't get chief, but I'm also kind of relieved.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of stress. It really is. And there's so many moving pieces, and I think that me personally, my relationship with the volunteers has come a long way from what it used to be. But I know that it's not 100%.
No, and a lot of those people that didn't like you are gone now.
That's true.
Gone or far less active.
I think another part of it is that doing different things and looking at the fire service in different lights and looking at honest self-reflection has really helped me recognize the change in the department and be more okay with changes in the department. And I think so everyone in an extent does self-reflection, but I don't think everyone is honest with themselves when they do it.
Run that by me one more time.
So I think everyone they look at themselves am I doing things correctly? Am I a good firefighter? Am I a good EMT? Am I a good friend?
Yeah.
Am I a good whatever it may be, husband, boyfriend, etc. But I don't know how much of it is very honest.
With themselves?
Yeah. If you want to go out there and you want to put on a facade that you're the greatest thing since sliced bread,
yeah,
tear it up. Most people will see through it. Some people won't. Whatever. Tear it up. But when it's just you and you're looking in the mirror, why are you lying to yourself?
Yeah, I see that.
I can look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm a piece of shit.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Just kidding. You're not a piece of shit.
I can be extremely hard-headed. I can be extremely stubborn. If I get it in my way that this is the way that I think things should be done, there are often times, certainly more so in the past, but there are often times when it's really hard to change my mind of that.
Yeah.
I put way too much of myself into my work. Not so much anymore because I don't like my work, but certainly on the fire service side, I'm all about it. And
which is good, but you also need, which I'm learning that now, that time that you need to step away. Or just accept it that it is what it is right now and there ain't shit I could do about it.
If there's something that I don't have that the department won't issue me or doesn't have, I go out and get it myself.
Yeah.
When I could, it's probably not a major necessity or...
Don't you do that now with your volunteer cop stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which I kind of see why they're not buying you shit.
Well, they've given me some stuff.
Yeah.
Just there's been a lot of stuff that I've had to go out and so when I initially started it, the agency that I was with ran multicams, and then this agency runs green, so I had to switch over to green stuff, which is not a big deal, and then different holsters and different guns, and it is what it is. And people are some people are crazy because they're oh, you don't get paid for that? And I was I don't.
You're a volunteer cop.
I'm sure that I'm a Make-A-Wish cop. Yeah, I'm sure that my my wife would prefer I get paid for it, especially since I invest
with
time.
The time that you put into it.
Yeah, I'm sure that she would prefer I get paid, but it's not something I enjoy doing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fun gig for you.
Yeah, and it doesn't. I mean, it takes up some time.
Just call it personal development. You just broke that, didn't you?
Oh, I sure shit did.
God damn, all this construction you've been doing, you don't know your own strength.
I guess not. or it's just a cheap piece of plastic.
Yeah, that or you're sexually frustrated.
Definitely not that. So yeah, I think that change is good. It's hard and it's slow.
Change is good. Well, change is good as long as it. I understand that change has to sometimes go backwards before it goes forward, especially with new administration or new administration with the lack of previous administration. As long as it doesn't go back for too long to where morale just starts going in the shitter again. As long as there's a light at the end of the tunnel to where this is going to get better.
So something that was always hard for me was to know how effective the things that I did were in the field, in the grand scope of things. Now I look back and I realize that they must have been pretty good. Because I mean, you guys all still reach out to me, and it's reminded that people that still work there and have gone still have like a lot of respect for me based off of the way that I did things, and that means a lot. But like when you're in the position, that kind of stuff doesn't happen as often. You don't get that kind of like positive feedback.
That or you just don't put attention to it.
So I definitely think that if you're the one leading change, that you should definitely have a good thumb on the morale and the way that change is received in the department. It's not going to be received at 100%. No way.
That'll never happen.
There's not a chance. But
someone's going to be hurt every single time.
I'm not going to say that if it's completely negative that it should be stopped, but I would say that the process in which it's being done could be altered.
If it's super negative, probably.
It probably means you're going about it the wrong way.
Yeah, if it's received poorly by the majority, more than likely, you're doing something wrong. But you're always going to have somebody that's...
And if you lead correctly, if there's an issue, your people will tell you.
Yeah, but whether or not you listen to your people or not is a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do my best to listen to the guys, but sometimes I just have to, like, shrug my shoulders and be like, I got nothing for you.
Yeah, there's only so much that you can do, especially at your level.
And I think they understand, like, well, if this guy don't know, then I guess we don't know either.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Man, that's rough.
Like, they're not, I say that, like, they're not holding it against me.
Yeah.
Hi, Jersey. I'm talking about you, by the way.
At least they don't. And I'm going to be honest, from personal experience as a supervisor, if you fuck up and you realize you fuck up, it doesn't matter how long it's been since you realized that you fucked up, since you did whatever you did that you fucked up. Own it.
You have to. You have to own it. If you don't own it and you just kind of blame it on somebody else or brush it off or whatever, your guys will remember.
Because it could be against like someone specifically or whatever it may be, and they could be having like a shit time in the department, and you finally wisen up or like see the flaw in your ways or whatever, and you're like, man, I fucked up, and you pull them aside or you call them and you say, hey man, look, back in the day this happened or whatever, and I'm sorry, I fucked up. Your idea was great, whatever it may be. There's like a strong possibility, like 85% chance that you just improve that person's overall outlook on the department or like life in general. As
long as whenever you say that, you own it. Because there's people that'll give like a bullshit apology where they don't actually, they just divert it onto something else.
Yeah.
People will see straight through that shit every single time. You could be a bang-up guy, woman, whatever, and you fuck up and you quote-unquote apologize in this roundabout, diverting it onto something else, you will lose even more respect than you lost whenever you fucked up.
100%. When me and Ashley first started dating, she told Dorothy about it. And she was like super nervous because Dorothy has her opinion.
No.
And Dorothy was like, no. She's like, I think Justin's great. She's like, he's fucked up. He's done a lot of dumb shit, and he's done a lot of, like, he's fucked up, but he'll also own it 100%. And that meant a lot to me. I certainly try. Like, I'm not perfect, and I try not to put that persona on, and I know that I'm very strong in my opinions about the way I think that things should be done. I'm not afraid to voice them, but I'm also okay with, like, me voicing it and someone saying, probably not.
You're a pretty good piece of shit. I'll say that.
And you know who's really good about keeping me in check? Wamsley. She's really good about that.
Oh, fuck. Well, I'm out of beer.
When I talked about applying for chief, we talked offline, and she shared her concerns.
With you being fire chief?
And it was blatantly honest, which is I expect nothing less.
That's all you'll get.
And it was refreshing because it keeps me thinking and keeps me open. I don't want people to just always say, "Oh yeah, awesome, great, good job." I want someone to say, "Yeah, you did all right.
That was good, but..."
Or like, "Hey, you fucked up, straight up. I think you fucked up." And, you know, like we've discussed, this podcast, everything, like, you can't learn from mistakes you can't make or you don't make.
And people have told us we fucked up on here.
Yeah. And if it generates conversation, if you want to talk about something that I've done, you have an issue with me, like, bring it up. I'm more than willing to hear it. I'm comfortable enough with myself that, you know, I used to be afraid of no's, and I used to be afraid of people hating me, and still to a point afraid of both of those things, but I think that I'm more open to hearing them both now.
I think if everybody liked you, you're doing something wrong within yourself.
I used to say that if I wasn't, I'm pretty sure it was Gabe Moss that told me that if I wasn't pissing somebody off, I wasn't doing my job. And I certainly, like, don't go out of my way to piss people off. But
yeah,
I think
there's a certain avenue to that.
I think that people being upset with me is certainly a byproduct of me having done my job correctly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I wouldn't say go out and just piss everybody off, but there's definitely a certain avenue.
Embrace the change when it comes along and be open-minded. That's my advice. You got anything else?
Be open-minded, and if you have questions, ask them.
Yep. Don't be...
Because there's no guarantee that somebody else is going to ask the same question.
And don't be afraid to share your opinion as long as you do it correctly.
Yeah. Be a voice.
You gotta be a dick about it.
Be a voice for the people under you, too.
Yep. And those around you. Don't just, like, storm away when you don't get your way, but, like, if you're given an opportunity to voice your opinion or whatever it may be, voice it so that it can be taken into consideration.
Yeah. The longer...
Also, don't be a dick about it.
The longer you go without asking, the longer you go without having answers.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, we appreciate you guys listening and joining us here. Hope you guys enjoy the content. Give us a like, shout out, follow, whatever you poke, like, whatever it is called these days on the social medias. Tell your friends, tell your family. Just keep in mind when you're telling your family.
Or don't. I mean,
we're not
up to you.
The family, we're not exactly the cleanest of podcasts. I think today was pretty mild.
It was, yeah. Other than the sex dungeon.
Other than the sex dungeon. Sorry again, Russ. You guys have a great, safe week and lead unto others.
Peace.